She's coming in.
We'll see
So
how
how
this
are you
goes.
from?
Uh, just let me take a breather. It was very hard swimming all the way. And you have a little snot. You would definitely don't. Oh, I pulled it out with a hair.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, I want to briefly talk a little bit of what is it called?
Is the short?
MBTI. Okay. So, I want to briefly talk a little bit with you about that since you're an expert.
Certified.
Self proclaimed, or
Certified.
yes. And the first time we met in this pool, right over there, can you tell me about it?
I don't know.
I saw you, you said hi,
Yes.
and you went away.
Yes.
And I was just laying there with my face looking down in the water.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay, now I
Suddenly,
remember.
yes,
I saw you. I approached, and I thought you saw me or you sensed me, and I said hi, and you sprung up,
yeah,
surprised,
yeah, startled.
startled.
Is that the word?
It might.
And we got into the water, or you asked if that was okay. And we started talking about MBTI,
Yeah.
and you quickly found out that I was, or you thought I was an ENFP, which is correct. And you guessed that mainly because I was startled,
Yeah.
or
Actually,
that yeah, you came into the water and I was scared.
yeah. That was one of the indicators, one of the cues.
Yeah.
Because when you wanna guess somebody's personality, you usually have to treat it like a puzzle.
Mhm.
So you're looking for different puzzles to build a picture of the personality. And once you have sufficient number of puzzles, you can make a guess, right? So you being startled,
Mhm.
surprised,
Mhm.
not
Surprised is a better word than
n-
scared. Yeah.
not sensing me approaching, it
Mhm.
was an indicator,
Mhm.
was one puzzle,
Mm.
which indicated a function that probably we won't get into because it's too deep.
Mm.
But one of the functions that your personality type has, which
Mm.
says that you're more focused on your internal.
And now you're getting too logical, and I just want to explain that function. Like, this is the funniest thing about MBTIs is that you have these 8 functions, right?
Yes.
So the first function is the one you're the best at, right?
Yeah, it's the strongest
The
one.
strongest one, and the last function is your demon function, the worst function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to wake it up.
And this is the most interesting part about MBTIs that I find, and you were the one that brought this to my attention because I did this test like many years ago, like a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, it fits with my personality, but like, how does it contribute to my self-awareness? Or yeah, but with the functions, getting to know my demon function, that was interesting,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So yeah, that's the functions for those who don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No worries. That was good.
Okay.
That was good. But just to close this loop, so you being surprised, you not sensing me, which was kind of, for example, I would probably sense a person approaching,
Yeah.
right? So this indicated that there's a high likelihood
Mm-hmm.
that one of your functions is introverted sensing,
Mm-hmm.
which is
One of my
responsible.
functions, like least functions.
Just one that is your default function,
Yes.
right? So your default sensing function,
Mm-hmm.
so the function responsible for perceiving sensory information,
Mm.
sensory data, smell, taste, vision,
Mm.
sound, is introverted, not extroverted, which
Mm.
means that it's more focused on your internal
Mm.
sensation, on your body,
Mm.
on your physiology, what's happening inside, than
Mm.
outside,
Yeah.
on the outside world. For
Mm.
example, I'm the opposite that way.
Mm.
I have extroverted sensing,
Mm.
which means that I prioritize external sensory information over internal.
Mm.
So it was one puzzle. I didn't I,
Mm.
I didn't know yet that you were an ENFP, but I was okay. That's one information.
Mm. Can you give us an example on how you are extroverted sensing is one of your better ones.
Yeah, so extroverted sensors are in general, they have quicker reaction time. They see reality more as it is, like a photograph. There's a good analogy. So extroverted sensing is basically a photo camera, is making a photo, and introverted sensing is painting reality. It's the interpretation of reality. It's how it affected you, right? And we had many interesting examples of that, right? For example, one was you were eating a papaya, and I asked you, how does it taste? And the answer I was expecting was you describing the properties of the papaya. It's sweet, it's sour, it's soft, it's juicy, right? These are extroverted sensing properties of something.
Yeah.
Yet, you told me something like, yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's really tasty, right?
Ah,
It,
okay.
like how it affected you,
Yeah.
how you interpreted those
Okay, okay,
senses.
okay. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So that was one of the examples. Of course, like as I told you, everyone is using everything. So
Yeah.
you might have answered in an extroverted sensory way, but we're looking for patterns, like what's more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can just say, because I think this is a very clear one with since that's your strong one, and in a way it's showing up as a weak one in my world.
Yeah.
It's with loud noises, traffic, cars, dogs barking. It really, I'm more affected by it in a way. It's unpleasant. It's very, it's overstimulating. That's the word.
Yeah.
So, for example, me going to the cinema, it's like overwhelming if the noise is very loud and all the impressions are coming towards me. And it's kind of like the same thing with being on the motorway, driving. But when it comes to reaction, I think, I might be wrong, but I think my reaction time is good since I'm so focused in, let's say, when I'm driving. Overly focused, maybe over, or maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Because it can be the demon sort of tricking me.
It is your
It
demon.
is, yeah, exactly.
I think both can be correct. The great, and I'm gonna explain why. You said something very accurate in my opinion, which is a way to understand functions. So the stronger a function is, the greater its capacity to handle information.
So a stronger function, that means the top ones, the one you're good at.
Yeah, the most dominant. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is why you explained that you can't really handle, I don't know, sitting in a cinema if the movie is too intense, right? Because since it's your weakest function, your capacity to use this function is low. In other words, you get tired very quickly. You get drained very quickly, right? So this is a good.
That's why, like, being working in a kindergarten, for example, would be like the worst thing for me.
It
Like,
would be
it's
terrible.
too much,
Yeah.
and that would drain
You'd
me.
kill all those
Yes.
children, or just one, or at least one, two. Sure.
Sure, put that on there. Yeah, continue.
There's, no.
So
Yeah. I
yeah,
don't.
your capacity, yeah,
Yeah, the
would be
capacity,
less.
like the dominance, like to think about a function being strong or dominant. The stronger slash dominant a function, the greater the capacity it is. The less it drains you, the more you can handle things with these functions. That's why you're using it.
Yeah.
Frankly, that's why you prefer to use it, because
Yeah.
it's less draining.
Everyone, yeah, it's the same
It's
thing
easier.
with, I think my type is supposed to, it's a good thing for me to practice like stuff like chess and video games.
Is
Is
it?
this, yeah, because it's, why was this again? It's about the logic thinking and strategic thinking. Does it make sense to you that that is on my lower functions?
For sure, it's not just your strongest side.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I learn these things,
Yeah.
like I learned chess last year.
Wow, we have to play chess. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not very good. but I know chess, and it was very draining to me. Like my mind was almost exhausted after like trying to learn it.
Hmm.
So that's funny. But we should mention what we are so that those who are what we are can or know people that can relate.
Yeah.
So
What are you?
I am an ENFP.
Hmm.
And what are you?
Tell me.
You're an INTJ.
No.
P.
No. How dare you?
I'm joking. You're an. Oh my god. This is embarrassing.
It
Well,
is.
luckily they don't know how much we've been talking about this, so I'm
A few
very sorry.
months.
I'm very sorry. I think it was my internal intuition that sense that you, I feel you like an I, but you are actually an E.
There you go.
You're an ENTP. I'm joking. J. I'm very confused. J. ENTJ.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry about the. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we should all I should also mention my strongest
Functions?
and how it affects my day to day, and you should mention your weakest. Now it's been
Absolutely.
bragging Simon time.
Absolutely.
So you go first.
Should I mention my
What's your
weakest?
weakest one? For an ENTJ.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, there are 8 functions. 4 are conscious.
Yeah.
The other 4 are unconscious. The conscious are stronger, and they are conscious. And their counterparts are unconscious. Right? If you have introverted sensing conscious, then extroverted sensing is going to be unconscious. Therefore, that's why you're using it less. And yeah, 4 and 4. So there are usually, the weak point one should focus on is usually what's called the inferior function, which is your weakest conscious function. So it's your
Okay.
fourth function.
Why should you not focus on your demon?
You can
Yeah.
in the future, but since it's unconscious and it's your weakest function, it's really difficult to get there because it's so deep down in your psyche. So it's better to get to it indirectly through your fourth function because
Okay.
they're connected.
Clever. I also read I also read that these like you develop these functions later in life. Like there's a timeline sort of on each function.
Yeah.
And the demon function, I'm guessing it's probably later in life when you're more developed, hopefully. Not everyone is, but yeah.
Yeah. Some people even say that you shouldn't touch the demon function because it's dangerous. It's like opening the gates of hell.
Oh, is that
But
the name?
it's quite dramatic. We don't have to get into that. Like the easiest and most natural way to start is with your inferior function.
Okay.
So on an example is for me it's introverted feeling, which is it's usually the opposite of your strongest function. And it's about values, right? Introverted feeling is about making value judgments. It's actually your second function, which is pretty strong. So determining what is good or bad, what is true with myself or to myself, what is moral, right? And making decisions based on this evaluation. So ENTJs, people with this personality type, they usually are great at achieving things, especially in the material external world, because of their extroverted thinking function, which is very rational, strategic.
Is this on your second or
It's
first?
my strongest.
It's
It's
your
my
strongest,
first.
yeah.
But where they can fall short or go wrong is actually achieving all of these things and either becoming a bad person in the process, realizing that it's actually not what they want, what they truly want, desire in their heart, or being alone because nobody likes them. So what I do is actually become like I am more conscious, like especially whenever I'm planning, prioritizing, thinking about my life. I try to remind myself, okay, is it true with me? Is it true with my values? Do I really want it? And like, do
Maybe
I
you
try
have
to
to
be
ask yourself like why you want stuff.
yeah, but truly why? Because why can also be explained through a rational
Okay, yeah.
efficiency,
So you have to
sad
get
boy.
in contact with what your feelings,
Yeah,
basically.
on a more emotional level.
Yes.
And also,
Feelings.
asking yourself, okay, am I becoming a better human being in the process? Right? So this is how I develop my introverted feeling, and therefore I balance myself, because ENTJ is just the last thing to wrap it up. ENTJs, again, they tend to be very like cold, like almost robotic, if they don't develop if they're introverted.
Yeah.
For example, Steve Jobs was a ENTJ, and everything, almost everyone thought he was a dick, right? Basically, a bad person. And there are many examples. Like most of the leaders, Napoleon was an ENTJ, Julius Caesar was an ENTJ.
So just to mention, what is your demon then? Because now you mentioned your fourth function.
Yeah, the inferior.
Yes.
Inferior is basically like a toddler, and you have to take care of it. It's not. It can't survive by itself. It needs help. And your demon is, I don't know, but it's usually, again, for me it's extroverted feeling. So introverted feeling is my inferior. Extroverted feeling is my demon. And this is a function responsible, again, also for value judgment. So what is good or bad. But it's, instead of focusing on what's internal, it focuses on what other people feel is good or bad, on a consensus, on the status quo.
So that is your absolute weakest.
And also, yeah, on a more one-to-one level, it's basically emotional empathy.
Yeah.
So sensing how others feel,
Yeah.
feeling other people's emotions.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with that.
So basically, to sum it up,
Yes.
to become more aware of being empathetic towards other, you first have to directly go into getting to know your own feelings more. Being more understanding of your own feelings will then help you understand others.
It's the best path
Yeah.
to. I think I can also develop extrovert my demon directly, but I think one should first develop their inferior.
100%. So what is my inferior? Because I only know, I think, my weakest, which is the extroverted sensing. So then it means it's introverted sensing. That's my...
Beautiful.
Yes.
That was very logical.
Yay. Because now I've seen the chart. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what your
Conscious slash ego.
conscious function, and 5, 6, 7, 8 is unconscious.
Exactly.
Yeah. So whatever is on your, say, my first, which is my best quality,
Yeah, the
or
hero function.
the hero function is extroverted sensing.
No.
No, introverted feeling, I mean.
Extroverted intuition.
I get so confused. I know this. Okay. Extroverted.
Yeah, a very quick hack. If you are an extrovert,
Yeah.
so you have E, your first function has to be extroverted.
Oh, okay. So mine is then extroverted sensing. No, intuition.
Extroverted intuition is.
Which means
Yeah. So
quickly. Just
quickly, extroverted intuition is a perceiving function. So it's responsible for processing information, taking in information and processing it.
yeah.
And it's basically, it's really hard to explain, but it's a function responsible for seeing potential, for seeing potentialities, for
Yeah.
seeing the abstract
Kind of like
ideas,
the good.
what can be.
Yeah. What can be for sure. The great idea master.
Yes, it's the creative function, especially extroverted intuition.
Okay.
That's
And
why you're so creative.
yes, name some
Say my name.
some good professions with this quality,
Artist.
which I am. That's funny.
Creative things. Even, for example, designer.
Yep. Just coming up with
comedian.
ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they should have maybe even a team around them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But probably shouldn't be the leader of the team.
No?
It won't be too
La,
efficient.
la, la, la. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you're more the leader type.
There are others, yeah, but I'm one of the.
One of the types, yeah. Cool. And what was the?
You were looking for your
I was
inferior.
looking for my inferior, my number 4.
You're number 4. You're
Yeah.
toddler.
Oh, my toddler. Okay,
Yes.
what's my toddler's name?
It's, try to guess. It's
Since my last one is extroverted sensing, then
yeah,
it's introverted sensing.
beautiful.
And it's probably about the body sensation,
Yeah,
being a little unaware, or maybe it can even become over aware.
it's for sure aware. It's conscious. It's a conscious function, but it's weak.
Okay.
So it needs a little bit help
Yeah.
to grow, and this is how you grow as a human being, developing
And
this function.
this is one of the parts I very much evolved in.
Yeah, as you called it, your healing period, right?
Yeah.
That was basically
That was basic
developing this function.
100%. I went through life ignoring all the bodily sensation, go like a lot of people do. Like that's how we develop stress and illnesses and stuff like this, ignoring what the body tells you.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, the body will let you know.
Yeah.
So in my then period that came after this, it was for sure uh, a very good teacher in that area, teaching me the sensations, I guess, and knowing what the body tells me what it means.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm an expert. Is that even possible? Not an expert, but I've been like almost too good at it at a point where sensations can even frighten me because I can connect it to it being too dangerous
Yeah.
because it was so dramatic before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well trained. It's proficient. For sure, I wouldn't say you can ever be an maybe I don't know how, depending how you define expert, right? But
It wasn't even what I meant. It's just
yeah,
like overly sensitive in a way.
okay,
Yeah, it's
it
not the
might,
same as an
it
expert.
might, it might.
It's getting balanced now, but I'm just saying like that can happen in a period of learning.
But you mean you're oversensitive to your bodily sensations, yes, to how you feel?
Yeah, maybe not now, but in a period I was. Like if I had mm, maybe not even that, but connecting it maybe too much to fear. And now you're yawning,
Yes.
and I think we should change the subject.
No,
No, okay, but
don't worry about it.
but yeah, another thing. I think I wrapped it up. Don't
Okay.
you think?
Yeah, but I would wrap it up that it's in general, as you can see on yourself, you know, discovering, understanding your inferior function is a great starting point for what I call informed self-improvement,
Mm,
because you're not doing the general thing like
mm,
reading self-improvement books, but you're looking, okay, what's my weak spot,
mm-hmm.
and it informs you what you can do, what you can focus on in order to grow.
Yeah, that's what I loved about getting a new understanding of this MBTI again.
How else did it affect your life?
Yeah. I've looked a lot on like introverted and extroverted the last couple of years. I've been very like I've talked to some people about it, trying to understand it because it's easy to just think that it's this way. So I discovered like last year that I'm more introverted than I thought I was. And after getting into this,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see that a lot of the people I would think of as extroverted people are
Mm-hmm.
actually introverted,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. It's very interesting. And when you asked me, my hand got up from the water and started like. And when you asked me like to find out if I was an introvert or an extrovert, you asked me such a great question. I think it sums it up quite well. Do you enjoy amusement parks?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very good one
Mm-hmm.
because I don't that much. It's
Mm-hmm.
too much.
Mm-hmm.
In a controlled setting where it would be not too many people, not too much crowd, not too loud music, not too much, and on a very good day and stuff like this, I would probably like it. But you see, I have a lot of buts.
Yes.
But my sister, we would we would maybe think in our family before at least that I'm more extroverted than she is. She always go on and on about amusement parks and wanting to go to a lot of these things. And she did the test and she's like 70% extroverted, which is kind of like a very good telling.
Her strongest function is your weakest function, and that's crazy.
Probably, yeah. Because she sits in a cafe that's so crowded and work there every day. It's so loud. And she loves it.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good telling.
So you learn, in other words, that introversion, extroversion isn't a black-white thing.
Not at all. And it's not about being social and it's not about being outgoing. It's different things. Can you
Yeah.
explain a little?
Yeah. So as I've mentioned briefly, functions can be introverted and extroverted, and being social is just one extroverted function, or actually a combination of few extroverted functions. But most people confuse being extroverted with being social. Yet what it means is, like, in what direction are you orientated? Are you orientated outside or inside, right? And as you learned, we are both.
Yeah.
It depends in what category of life are you introverted or extroverted. So the example of the amusement part is actually, the category is sensing, right? Because amusement part is all about sensations, right? The roller coasters, all those things. So you said you don't like them, and it shows me that your sensing function is likely to be introverted because it's just too much, too many external sensations, right? So I think this sums it up, right? It's like, it's not black and white, but in general there are extroverts and introverts, like ENTJ, ENFP are extroverts, and it just shows that their first function, the strongest function, will be extroverted. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. If people would have met us, do you think they would guess me as an E and you as an E, like we are? Or what do you think? Do most people, I don't know if people go around guessing you as an introvert or an extrovert, but what do you think?
I think they would guess you as an extrovert
Yeah.
because people confuse extroversion with being social and so on, and you're social, quite sociable,
Yeah,
you seem,
I
and
see.
friendly. Like, people confuse friendliness, sociability, and so on with extroversion.
Yeah. And I am extroverted, but only slightly. Oh, only slightly. And what I've sensed about myself is that on a good day, okay. Am I talking too much about myself now?
No, I
You're
just
just
wanna.
giving me the speaker. Yeah. On a good day, I feel very sociable, very open, very outgoing. But on a day, I'm not like that, and I guess most people can relate to this.
Yeah.
I close myself almost completely off.
No.
I'm like barely saying hello, just to like, I need to protect myself in my zone.
Yeah, you have this quite interesting combination of introverted functions, which is introverted feeling, and introverted sensing. Which, although you're an extrovert, you're very likely you like to be in your internal world, daydreaming basically in your
Yeah.
internal, like, just play with ideas, play with your mind.
Yeah, that's what you told me one of the first, like in the pool.
Yeah,
You
you're
have a
basically
very
doing that.
rich internal world, and I didn't think of myself like this before. So this is one way it has changed my life. Now, like when I was just in Norway the other day, the other
Back in the day.
I perceived everyone else different because then I was like, we're all so different. Like, imagine how your world is compared to mine. And I didn't ever think that I had like a richer internal world than like maybe most people. So now I walk around like, oh, I imagine like imagine how his world is. Like
Mm-hmm.
how is it to be very like out there? And then I try to become more like in the body, less in the head. Like is that kind of like what meditation is in a way?
Sure.
Putting my energy in my body and out of the mind.
Yeah. This is actually one of the biggest benefits of MBTI or personality types in general, that it helps you understand that people are so different. And you have the vocabulary that helps you describe it and understand it. Because people might agree or disagree whether MBTI is real or true or woo woo, but what they can't argue with is that it really gives you this vocabulary to describe people in a more accurate way.
Yeah, very nice. And people have to remember that your type can, of course, change during your life.
That's actually kind of untrue.
Is it?
It can evolve.
Evolve then. Yeah.
You mentioned that because this is why the yeah, we have to finish
Yeah.
in a few in 2.5 minutes. This is why the more developed, the wiser you are, the harder it is to type you, because you have access to more functions. For example, because you develop your introverted sensing through your healing period, you have access to this function. You have greater access to this function. And once you start developing your unconscious functions, you might seem like a different personality type, but you're not. You just have more access to more functions. So personality types don't really evolve. You will always be an ENFP, but in some situations you might seem like an ENFJ, which is your unconscious. Sorry, INFJ, which is your unconscious, because you've developed those functions. You evolved. You transcended.
Cool.
You self-actualized.
Yes. Makes sense.
Makes.
Yes. So yeah, thank you for expertise. It's been very nice. Is that how we wrap it up? No. Let's
Yes.
swim away.
With the microphone.
Yeah, put it on the blanket. The towel.